This week on Unscripted, we have backstage news coming out of the Survivor Series. Are there plans for LARS Sullivan on the main roster? And is the brand split coming to an end next year? This and more on the future #1 podcast right here on YouTube.com. This is Unscripted. What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're back again for Unscripted, episode 46 for your November 24th, 25th. I think we'll have this on Sunday, November 25th, 2018. We're like the week after we had a hell of a takeover in the Survivor Series, which was not a bad pay-per-view itself, but had you scratching your head a couple times with some of the decisions they made. Why did Raw sweep SmackDown? Why was LARS Sullivan be pulled up? We have all that and more, but of course we're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown a little bit. I did not watch NXT or the UK series this week because I still got to catch up with last week because with the Women's Championship tournament, I believe is either over or is going to finish up next week. But Monday Night Raw, the biggest thing coming out of Monday Night Raw was the fact that Stephanie gloated about the fact that Monday Night Raw swept SmackDown Live 6-0. It was supposed to be 7-0. We'll talk about why. What happened later, and the fact that Braun Strowman was sent off to the injured reserve, which hurts Monday Night Raw immensely. So Monday Night Raw since SummerSlam has lost Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, and now Braun Strowman to injury or illness. So Monday Night Raw continues to suffer from bad booking and injury after injury after injury or illness in Roman's case. Monday Night Raw just continues to get worse and worse by the minute, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. SmackDown Live, of course, had its nice little ode to Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving was this past Thursday. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday if you celebrate it. But we had our Thanksgiving feast fight with the Bar and the Big Show losing to the New Day, and just like the AOP on Sunday and Monday being embarrassed because their manager pissed his pants, and then losing to Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Anybody who says WWE cares about tag team wrestling, you are fools. You are absolute fools. Because Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live just showed you that the main roster does not care about tag team wrestling. Tag team wrestling is dead to them. The two other biggest things coming out of SmackDown Live, of course, was the fact that Daniel Bryan explained his actions, saying that he blames himself for what happened for nearly, 2 years ago when he retired, and the fact that the fans stopped cheering yes, they started chanting for AJ Styles, and he calls them fickle. Some people called it weak, not a good explanation. I mean, the only thing out of everything that just didn't make any sense is that AJ Styles still refuses to wear a cup even after the fact that Shinsuke Nakamura low-blowed him every time they wrestled except for one time. So WWE just... That's the only thing, but I like the fact that Daniel Bryan is saying that the Yes Movement is dead. I am done with the Yes Movement. I am here for the WWE Championship, and you fans can go shove it, pretty much. Which I thought was a pretty good line. And, of course, Charlotte Flair coming out and pretty much trying to take back what she is, and that is the Queen of SmackDown Live. She is trying to take back what Becky Lynch got. Becky Lynch is the most over babyface. So Charlotte Flair, since WWE has to protect their precious Charlotte and the fact that she was being booed by the fans, let's get her over by having her beat down Ronda Rousey, and then come out on Tuesday, and instead of being the heel that she pretty much turned to be, let's make her a big old babyface by squashing the Iconics. Of course, course, the reason I skipped NXT this week because it was the Aftermath show. I know LARS, Sullivan, and Keith Lee destroyed the opponents who were local jobbers, and then they came to blows, which they will be wrestling next week on NXT. It was the taping before TakeOver. It was like 2 days or so before TakeOver. So those two will be going to blows on NXT from, I think it was San Diego, California, or somewhere over there. But then, of course, we had our TakeOver, which was excellent. War Games was honestly one of the best. Like, War Games 2 was honestly one of the best TakeOvers of all time. I'm not going to say it was the best. Having Matt Riddle pop out, which they did a cue card or a, what is those things called? A document leaked out that had the run sheet for the NXT TakeOver ran out, voted out, and apparently Matt Riddle was supposed to always challenge Cassius Ohno to a match at TakeOver, but instead of it being only about 8 seconds, it was supposed to be 18 minutes originally. Someone was like, that's too long, let's just have Cassius Ohno eat a knee, and that's that. And everything else, they had, like, who produced each match, how long each match was supposed to go, and everything else. It's out there somewhere on Twitter. I don't know the exact name, but definitely something to look into if you want to see how NXT TakeOver could have looked. Speaking of Charlotte Flair, though, let's talk about this. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series. What was the plans? The WWE Survivor Series match between Charlotte Flair and Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey was designed to get Flair back over like she once was. Going into the match, WWE really wanted Flair to be over when it was done, according to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer Radio. This doesn't mean they wanted her over as a babyface, but they wanted Flair to be viable once again and worthy of a feud with Ronda Rousey. The first encounter with Rousey was never meant to be a one-shot deal, as it was originally planned for WrestleMania 35. There's no solid word yet on where they are going now, but Meltzer speculated they could be a follow-up at the Royal Rumble in January, and then possibly a triple threat with Flair, Rousey, and SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 35 in April. WWE officials reportedly wanted 3 super over female superstars coming out of Survivor Series. They knew they already had Rousey and Lynch, but they wanted to get Flair back over with the match this past Sunday. Flair cooled off a bit during the early part of her feud with Lynch. Whose fault is that? And the match at Survivor Series was designed to get her back over. WWE officials reportedly wanted 3 super over females. And, yeah. So, tell me one thing. Whose fault is it that Charlotte Flair went from being the super over superstar to cooling off? It's not Flair's fault. She just went out there to do what she was told. She was out there to get her ass kicked by, win the women's championship at SummerSlam, and then get her ass kicked by her best friend Becky Lynch in the aftermath. Is it Flair's fault that WWE miscalculated the fact that everyone loves Becky Lynch? The fact that we come to Tuesday night and Becky Lynch is the only thing these fans are chanting for? They don't even care. And this is the thing. This is a Los Angeles crowd. This is one of these crowds that you could probably do this with. Wait till we get to like a Chicago or New York or anywhere else and see. You can't say that this is a major success yet. You can't. You just cannot say this is a major success yet because you went from Survivor Series to SmackDown in the same building. Let them go somewhere else. If Charlotte Flair's still over as a babyface, then it works. If she cools off immediately, then it didn't work. WWE is jumping the gun with the she's over thing, and it's not true. We don't know that yet. Becky Lynch, we all knew, was over immediately after she snapped on Charlotte Flair because everybody wanted Becky to win the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. I think it should have been at Evolution, and that should have been the main event in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. My question is, had Becky Lynch been able to compete at Survivor Series, would WWE have done what they did with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and had a women's championship match, a hotshot women's championship match between Flair and Lynch, and then have Flair beat Becky Lynch to go into the Survivor Series, so we would still get Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey? I don't know. WWE's Raw and SmackDown, as we know, are booked on the fly. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles could have been booked 5 minutes before the show went on the air, or even like the outcome of that match could have been booked right before that match went on the air. It's just how WWE works. They don't know what they're doing until the show is either halfway done or like WrestleMania 31 when they had Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. The finish to that match was not decided until about 30 minutes before that match was to go on. So that just tells you how WWE's thinking is. Now, Becky Lynch made herself look like the biggest badass out there with all that blood coming down, and I would not surprise me if she did not break her face. Had WWE just had her and Charlotte Flair go back and forth, like, you know what, title match between you two, and then Flair goes into Survivor Series as your women's champion, hated more than ever. Give it a break. Yes, she got over in a big way because California was a SmackDown pro town. Everybody, a pro city. Everybody there wanted SmackDown to win every single match. They got it for the tag team championship the tag team match, the 10-man tag match on the pre-show, which wasn't supposed to be that way. But we'll talk about that in a second. But you could tell the fact that everyone was chanting "Thank you, Charlotte," and "You deserve it" to Ronda Rousey is because everybody wanted SmackDown to win every single match. Why news on Raw sweeping SmackDown? At Survivor Series. This past Sunday, Survivor Series SmackDown, Raw was able to clean sweep SmackDown in 6 straight matches on the main pay-per-view. SmackDown did pick up a victory on the kickoff show, but that's largely gone unnoticed by WWE. On the Wrestling Observer Radio said that Vince McMahon wanted Survivor Series to be a clean sweep situation on behalf of Raw, but something was lost in translation when it came to the pre-show. So SmackDown won that match. It was decided that in order to progress the story of the evening, that it would be better to just acknowledge only the main card. So why did they do a clean sweep of SmackDown? Why did they do a clean sweep of SmackDown? Well, the biggest thing is that Shane McMahon, this is supposed to lead to a Shane McMahon heel turn. Shane McMahon would not be happy losing every single match to Raw. He did threaten to fire somebody at Crown Jewel if SmackDown Superstar was to lose at Crown Jewel. So, yeah, this is supposed to all lead to a Shane McMahon heel turn. But we'll talk about that in a little bit too. What was Shane McMahon's original plans at WrestleMania, and what are his plans now? But first, current plans for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, the current plans for Brock Lesnar to face Seth Rollins, likely for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Rollins is currently prepared to defend his Intercontinental Championship against Dean Ambrose at TLC, and this news could be the indicator that he'll be dropping the title to his former Shield teammate at the event or at the Royal Rumble. Brock and Rollins are no strangers to one another, with Seth being the man who ended Lesnar's WWE Championship run at WrestleMania. I don't like this one bit. The only person, in my opinion, who should be going into WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship is not Braun Strowman. It should be, without a doubt, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre should be walking in and walking out of WrestleMania as your Universal Champion. Of course, that title, as we all know, is 100% cursed outside of course, Brock Lesnar, who's the only one who's been able to have any type of title reign, even though his title reigns mean nothing. That title has not had a meaningful title reign whatsoever. Finn Balor got injured on his first when he won the title. Kevin Owens had a meaningless title reign that was pretty much forgettable. Goldberg had a title reign that was pretty much forgettable. Brock Lesnar held it for almost 2 years, and then Roman Reigns had to give it up because of leukemia. So, yeah, that title is absolutely meaningless. That title is absolutely worthless, and just giving it to that's one of the reasons why I don't want to really give it to Drew, but Drew should be the guy who holds that title and makes it mean something. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, I really don't want to see because we've already seen it. How many times do we need to see Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins? I know we saw Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins versus John Cena at the Royal Rumble in 2015, and that was a hell of a match. Probably one of the matches of the year that year. But still, give us something fresh. Give us something new. Give us Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Give us Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. I don't care. Something other than Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, even though that's supposed to probably happen at the Royal Rumble. But something other than the same old shit, different pay-per-view and different year. Do not give us Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. It just makes absolutely no sense. Let me know what you think of that, because I don't want to see it again. We've seen it once, we've seen it again. The last time I believe these two faced off one-on-one, The Undertaker got involved, low-blowed Brock Lesnar, and set up for their final matches between each other before Brock Lesnar, I believe, won inside Hell in a Cell, even though Undertaker actually beat him finally on a pay-per-view right before that. Let me know in the comment section below who you'd want to see at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar, because I'd rather see Drew McIntyre over Seth Rollins. Speaking of Braun Strowman, what is up with him? As noted, WWE confirmed Braun Strowman would be undergoing elbow surgery after dealing with bone spurs for several months. A date from the surgery wasn't initially given, but the Strowman will have it done in Birmingham, Alabama on 11/26, according to PW Insider. On this week's Raw, Strowman was attacked by Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and acting general manager Baron Corbin to write him off TV. Strowman is scheduled to face Corbin on the TLC pay-per-view on December 16th in San Jose, but the match is up in the air. WWE should know more about Strowman's status for TLC once the surgery has been completed and they know how bad everything was. At TLC, Strowman will earn a Royal Rumble 2019 title shot against WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar if he can defeat Corbin, and Corbin will become permanent GM if he defeats Strowman, but he will lose all Red Brand authority if he loses. Word backstage from Raw is that the officials feel Strowman will be good to go in time for the Rumble match with Lesnar. It sounds like they will come up with a creative that book Strowman versus Lesnar even if he's unable to face Corbin at TLC. Okay, if you knew this was going to happen, if this was your plan going into Monday Night Raw to write him off TV, what was the fucking point of booking Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin at TLC with all these stipulations on the line? There's absolutely no reason to have this match even happen or even be booked if you know that you're writing Strowman off. Because what if Strowman's not ready for TLC? What if he's not ready till after the Royal Rumble? Then all your creative plans from TLC, from now until the Royal Rumble for Braun Strowman are screwed. Why would you even do that? That means we won't see Brock Lesnar till WrestleMania. That means we won't see, like, Baron Corbin, I don't think they want to keep in the position of general manager. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to have somebody else fill in for Braun Strowman with all those stipulations on the line that somebody... What are you going to do? Get your Kurt versus Baron Corbin match, which WWE wanted to do for Survivor Series in a 5-on-5, Team Kurt versus Team Corbin. Winner gets to be general manager of the Red Brand. Is that what you're going to do now? Is you're going to have Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle in a one-on-one match, which honestly I do not want to see. Do you want to see it? Because I know I don't want to. It just makes no sense why they would do that. Why would you even do that? Why would you even, like, take the risk? I know it's okay to take risk every once in a while, but that is not something you want to risk, because now you're booking a match at TLC that we don't even see. Yes, Braun Strowman's going to be out for the next 3 weeks at least. So it just makes my head scratch. Why would WWE even want to book a match? I mean, they had, like, this isn't like Battleground from a couple years ago in 2016 when Roman Reigns was suspended for 30 days, where it was the Shield triple threat match, which everybody wanted to see, and it was an excellent match. But it was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and the entire match was built on on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose because Roman Reigns was suspended for 30 days. And now this is something different. Then he was suspended and could come back from his suspension at any time. Well, in time for the pay-per-view. This, we don't know if Braun Strowman is going to be around in time for the pay-per-view. So to even put this at risk and pretty much tell everyone that, hey, Braun Strowman's going to be at this show, he's going to wrestle this match, and if he wins, and he's going to kick Baron Corbin's ass, just for it not to happen because somebody in WWE don't know, like, decided, well, yeah, we don't know if he's going to be there for TLC, but we're going to book the match anyway. I'm going to go to see what how WWE books themselves out of this corner, because this is not something you should ever do. If you don't know that someone's going to be ready for a pay-per-view, why in the hell would you book them ahead of time for it? Just ridiculous. So watch WWE just blow up in their face when it comes to this. Main roster plans for Lars Sullivan as we move on here. This week's NXT episode saw Lars Sullivan clash with Keith Lee after they both won squash matches over enhancement talent. The Lars vs. Lee match taped last Thursday in San Jose will air on Wednesday. NXT TV episode on the WWE Network. This could be Sullivan's last Yellow Brand appearance ever. It's also noted that in the Wrestling Observer that Lars is seen as being so much larger than life when you see him live in the arena than he comes across on TV. Sullivan is now much larger than he was a year ago. He had surgery to remove a tumor that caused him acromegaly years ago, but he continues to get bigger. The biggest thing coming for Lars Sullivan is that he is going to SmackDown because Braun Strowman is on Raw. Why would you want to have a monster of Braun? Why would you want to have somebody who is not the size of Braun Strowman but supposed to portray a terrifying monster like Lars Sullivan on the same brand? Because everybody will be speculating, when is Lars going to go up against Braun? When are these two going to clash? You wouldn't want that for at least a year. Get Lars Sullivan to actually have a chance to get over. He's going to be hopefully not buried, but with WWE's track record, he is probably going to be buried. He is definitely coming up to the main roster soon, and I honestly would make a big impact. I would hold him off and have him being advertised as coming soon, and when TLC hits in December, like in a couple weeks, when we get to TLC, have him interrupt a match on the SmackDown brand and have him take out, like say, let me see. I don't know any matches other than the WWE Championship match. I wouldn't go there yet. Have him attack AJ Styles or attack AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan or lay both men out. I would see when if Shinsuke Nakamura defends the U.S. Championship. When's the last time he's done that on pay-per-view? But if Shinsuke Nakamura faces like a Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton, have him go in there and just destroy both men. Lay both men out. I mean, yes, Randy Orton would not be a good target right now, but say Shinsuke Nakamura defends the U.S. title against somebody, have him come in and destroy whoever he's going up against on both sides. Just have him lay both men out and just walk away. That would be something I would do. Have Lars Sullivan make a big impact by attacking somebody. I mean, if you want to have him attack the WWE Champion and the challenger, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, just so we get to the Royal Rumble between these two and make 3 years in a row, even though he wouldn't be champion this time. That'd be 3 years in a row that AJ Styles is in the every year, if AJ Styles is facing Daniel Bryan or has the WWE Championship going into the Royal Rumble this year, one or the other, this would be the fourth Royal Rumble where he has been in a championship match. Because yes, the 2016 Royal Rumble was a championship match. It was for the championship, which was held by Roman Reigns. Are you excited for Lars Sullivan being on the main roster? I know I am not. Because he is a big dude. He is one of the guys that Vince McMahon would actually pine for, somebody he would have a heart on in his pants for and want to push to the moon. I don't see him being anything more than what he is. He's not ready, and this is my feeling. Lars Sullivan's not ready for the main roster. He's just not. He's not at all. And I would not want to see him on the main roster, period. Moving on here, we have news on what happened with Drake Maverick at Survivor Series. Drake Maverick has been leading AOP in the battle ever since WWE figured out that they needed a manager and apparently decided against Paul Ellering. I don't know why. Of course, what happened with Drake Maverick on Sunday would have never happened with Paul Ellering. You would have never seen the Big Show even be able to be allowed to touch Paul Ellering like that. So Maverick was given the spot, which means he is to pull double duty as a 205 Live general manager and Akam and Razor's war strategist. During Survivor Series, though, things didn't work out the way Maverick and AOP would have liked. Not only was the match squashed in many ways due to a distraction from He Shall Not Be Named, as a piece of shit was getting ejected from the Staples Center while they were in the ring trying to work, but the match also included a spot where the Big Show was supposed to scare the pee out of Maverick, literally. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, while it's not 100% confirmed, it's looking like Maverick had to pull out of a physical effect in real life during that embarrassing urine-themed spot as well. The version of the story told to Dave Meltzer is that there was a device rigged to fill Drake's pants with liquid and it appeared that he peed himself, but it decided not to work. Apparently, you can see Maverick messing with his mechanism, which is what he's doing while fumbling with his pants, but the device failed to perform, so Maverick apparently had to take matters into his own hands, in a manner of speaking. This is just and this is what they wrote. This is just another quote-unquote amazing thing pro wrestling will give to the audience, because not only are they willing to take bumps in the ring, but they're also willing to ruin a good pair of pants on the apron as well. But we'll show Vince McMahon loved the spot even more, especially if Jake had to do the peeing himself. You know Vince McMahon came up with that spot. Vince McMahon was probably in the middle of sleeping and woke up and went, Drake Maverick should piss himself tomorrow night. He should piss himself. It's gonna be funny. Everyone's gonna fucking laugh. And then, sure, Vince, that's a good idea. Oh, I can see him already laughing their asses off in the Staples Center. Oh my goodness. And then, of course, we get the next night, and what do we get? We get toilet humor. We get, oh, don't be pissed. You're in trouble. Oh, you said urine. Ha 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 ha. Oh, he could probably fit in baby diapers still. It's shit like this that has got to go. Shit like this does not need to fucking happen. Oh, I did it back in the Attitude Era. I pissed myself off. That was the Attitude Era. This is 2018. We do not need to see public urination on pay-per-view or on live TV. It's not funny. It's not something I want to see anymore. Give me a damn break. This was not something needed. You already had a distraction happen in WWE. This made that match one of the weakest matches of the night. It was 9 minutes, and the AOP only won because the manager, which, of course, Chris Jericho's right, doesn't make any sense why he's managing these two. The manager pissed himself. Literally. And you expect that to help the AOP get over? Do you expect fans to give a shit about the AOP now with the fact that their manager pissed his pants? Give me a goddamn break. I don't want to hear or see anything about this again. This is just pathetic, and it makes your tag team champions look like shit. Both, like I said earlier, both tag team champions on Raw and SmackDown look pathetic coming out of this week's episodes of shows. The UK championships will be introduced, I believe, sometime next month, and those are the best looking tag team titles out of all brands. I'm just saying. Whoever wins those tag teams will be a more legitimate tag team than both the Bar and the AOP after this week. Hell, the Undisputed Era are a more legitimate tag team than what we saw. You wouldn't see the AOP, well, not the AOP, but the Undisputed Era allow themselves to be embarrassed like that. Those four guys, I hope when Strong, O'Reilly, Fish, and Cole are brought up, they were on the same brand, and they had the same mentality that the Shield did back in the day. When the Shield was told something and they didn't want to do it, the Shield said nope, and they stood their ground. I hope the Adam Cole and company have the same mentality coming. Plain and simple. Several WWE stars are interested in the new AEW or All Elite Wrestling. The situation surrounding All Elite Wrestling, that alleged promotion involving Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and the billionaire Khan family who own the Jacksonville Jaguars, continues to get more interesting. The latest tidbit comes from this week's issue of the Wrestling Observer. After news surfaced of the multiple trademarks following on the name, several WWE talents were said to be interested in the potential promotion. Of course, this entire promotion, if it even winds up happening, is still early in the planning stages reportedly. A television deal is key to getting off the ground, and that's not the easiest thing for a wrestling promotion to get, as noticed by Global Force Wrestling struggles and several other promotions paying for television time. The reason Global Force Wrestling had so much trouble is that Jeff Jarrett got way too cocky. Way too cocky in thinking that, oh, well, I'm Jeff Jarrett. My dad is Jerry Jarrett. I can just walk into a TV station, drop down my credentials, and people are going to sign me for billions of dollars for TV rights. That's exactly what happened. He was proud. This is back when he was still, his drunk self. So, yeah, that's why Global Force Wrestling has so much struggles, because the person who owns Global Force Wrestling was a cocky motherfucker. Let us know in the comments who you think might be weighing their options and looking elsewhere. Ooh, this will be fun. Let's see. The Good Brothers of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. The Revival. Finn Balor. Let me see here. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I think, should leave too. I think they should go to this AEW. Of course, this is supposedly with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. All Elite Wrestling, all like those. I guess they have a trademark called AEW All Out, which will be their pay-per-view name. They have Tuesday nights, something. I think it was Tuesday night Turbo nights or something, which is going to be a Tuesday night show, which of course would probably not launch until after WWE SmackDown is on the Fox channel. So we wouldn't probably see anything from AEW until at least until October of next year, when SmackDown is no longer on Tuesday nights. Are you excited about AEW, which is a promotion that is going to be run by Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks? Which, if this does come to fruition, then anybody thinking that Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are coming to the WWE, well, you can kiss those prophecies goodbye, because it's just not happening. I want to definitely see what these guys can have. I would love to see somebody from WWE who isn't doing anything. Let's see. Let me think. Andrade Cien, who just came up to the main roster, who's hardly being used, should ask for his release and move over to AEW. I'm pretty sure he would do hell of a lot better over there. Let's see. Who else could we see going? Let me think. A new, No Way Jose could get a new freaking gimmick and be taken on the AEW and probably be used. Anybody in WWE who's not being used right now, Sanity, Eric Young, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf should all think about jumping ship when they can and move to AEW. If this promotion happens, that's the thing. We are still at the if. They filed the trademarks. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. The Khan family wants to do it with them. If they do it, okay, that's awesome. Let's see what happens. We will have more of this as we get closer to 2019 and what we have coming up there. If this does happen, then anybody who thinks, again, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, and any of them coming to WWE, and then you're out of your mind. Kenny Omega did come out and say if it was about the money, he would have been in WWE a long time ago, and I absolutely 100% agree with him. Why would Kenny Omega stay in New Japan or go anywhere else but WWE if it was all about the money? But it's not about the money to him. Kenny Omega wants to sit there and actually wrestle, and you sit there and watch guys like Zack Ryder not doing anything half the time. Mike Kanellis had to go to 205 Live to even be able to wrestle. Why, Bayley and Sasha Banks have been relegated to, instead of feuding over the women's championship like they should have been all fucking year long, have been squished together as the Boston Hug Connection. You had the chance to turn one heel, you turned Bayley heel, and then you sent them to counseling and ruined them whatever you had from them. There's a lot of superstars that I could see wanting out of their contracts, but another thing about this AEW, it's going to be something that will scare Vince and WWE, and maybe they will clean up their act. I don't know. Their booking needs to get better at WWE, because All In was the start of something for this All Elite Wrestling. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do when we get to 2019. This will be something worth watching. Coming up next year, we do have ourselves a little update on pay-per-view scheduling for WWE. With the brand split going back to dual-branded pay-per-views, I and a lot of people also thought that maybe we would be down one less pay-per-view, because honestly, we don't need a March pay-per-view. But the WWE pay-per-view schedule for WWE 2019 continues to clear up according to the latest issue of Wrestling Observer. The dates and locations for 2 pre-WrestleMania pay-per-views have been revealed. Similar to the past couple years, both WWE Elimination Chamber and Fastlane will take place after the Royal Rumble, yet before WrestleMania. Directly after the Royal Rumble in January will be the Elimination Chamber. It is going to take place on February 17th in Houston, Texas. It will be followed by WWE Fastlane on March 10th. The final WWE pay-per-view before Mania will take place in Cleveland, Ohio. Why do we need Fastlane? We don't need Fastlane. We have the Elimination Chamber. You took all pay-per-views and made them co-branded. 2016 and 17... Oh, I'm sorry. 2017 and 18, it made a little sense to have a pay-per-view after the Elimination Chamber, but before WrestleMania, because you had Royal Rumble, Raw brand, SmackDown brand, then SmackDown brand, then Raw brand, and then you switched it and went Raw brand and SmackDown brand, and then WrestleMania. You don't have that this year. You have the Elimination Chamber. Why are we getting Fastlane? Fastlane this year is going to be a useless pay-per-view. That is where, if they want to stick with this Greatest Royal Rumble stuff, March would be the best month of the year for them to do a Saudi Arabia show. If that's what if they're going to stick with Saudi Arabia, that is the best time to do it because you don't need another pay-per-view in that time. You could go March 10th, March 11th, whatever, March 9th, whatever you want to do, and have the Saudi Arabia show, the first Saudi Arabia show in March. Get rid of Fastlane, go to Saudi Arabia then. It's the best time to do it because you're getting ready for WrestleMania, and you could be hyped for WrestleMania. There's no reason for Fastlane. I don't know why they continue to think they need to put another pay-per-view there. Before this brand split, there has almost never been a pay-per-view in March outside of WrestleMania. So I don't know why we're getting another pay-per-view in March that is WrestleMania. That's not WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania plans for Shane McMahon, WWE still has significant creative plans for SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon going into WrestleMania 35. There are plans for Shane to undergo a character change during the first quarter of 2019, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. No word yet on exactly what they have planned, but this will tie in with Shane's World Cup tournament win at Crown Jewel and Team SmackDown losing all of their matches on the main card of Survivor Series pay-per-view. Shane's character change will likely set up his match at WrestleMania 35. As noted before, the original plans for Shane was to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35, which in my opinion would have been below Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is probably going into WrestleMania as your WWE champion. If Daniel Bryan not turned heel and won the WWE championship, it should have been Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania for the WWE championship against The Miz. That's not happening. But the plan was likely changed when they made the decision to put the WWE title on Bryan. WWE was still teasing Bryan versus Shane right before the title win on the recent episode of SmackDown, but Shane versus Bryan is no longer a direction for WrestleMania. It was believed that Shane's planned heel turn with the World Cup win was leading to WrestleMania match with Bryan. It was also believed that the Shane heel turn had been dropped, but it would be interesting to see if they continued to turn now that he still had plans for a character change for SmackDown Commissioner. There's no word yet on what WWE has planned for the new storyline with Shane and The Miz that began this week, but Shane versus McMahon. Miz versus McMahon match seems possible. That seems like that'd be a little blow for The Miz. After all the work that he has done this year, improving his game and keeping his mic skill at one of the best talkers in the game, improving his in-ring work, his matches with Seth Rollins at Backlash, which was the only match worth watching on that show, his triple threat match at WrestleMania, where he lost the Intercontinental title, are just two examples. His first match with Daniel Bryan was pretty good. The dude's been one of the more consistent guys on the entire show, and you're going to take that away from him and give him the Shane McMahon? WWE just doesn't know how to book anything good. The whole time between now and WrestleMania should have been The Miz beating AJ Styles for the WWE Championship either at TLC or at Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, whichever one you want to go with, going to WrestleMania, facing off against The Miz, and winning the title there. But they changed all that because they did not want Brock Lesnar to beat AJ Styles 2 years in a row. So all plans for WrestleMania are just out the window. I don't know there's nothing set for WrestleMania. The Roman Reigns illness has trickled all the way over to SmackDown, and everything that could have been for WrestleMania is gone. It's dead, and it ain't coming back. Y'all wondering why Natalya never turned on Ronda Rousey? There's a reason, and WWE had plans for Natalya to turn heel on Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, but those plans were nixed. Wrestling Observer notes that the friendship angle between Rousey and Natalya has been dropped for weeks, but the plan was always for Natalya to turn on Rousey around this point in time. They kind of dropped the Natalya and Ronda Rousey friendship angle once the Bella Twins got involved. The heel turn was dropped when WWE legend Jim the Anvil Neidhart passed away back on August 13th. The feeling was they couldn't turn Natalya heel anymore, once her dad passed, which is why they went back to Nia Jax for the feud with Ronda Rousey. So instead of giving us, and as we know, Ronda Rousey is scheduled to defend her title against Nia Jax at the WWE TLC on December 16th. Rousey already defeated Nia Jax at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view by DQ because of Alexa Bliss attacking him. Both. I don't like the fact that, you could always, you could turn Natalya heel. You could honestly, if you want to be sympathetic, they want to see, the reason they don't want to turn Natalya heel now is because they want her to get sympathy for the fact that her dad passed away. And WWE is going to use that, and that's why you have that feud, that mini feud that she had with Ruby Riott. I still want to see Ronda Rousey versus Natalya, but you didn't have to have Natalya turn heel. You could still get Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. You could have had Natalya win the Battle Royal, even though she wasn't in it. But you could have had Natalya be the one in the Battle Royal. She could have won the Battle Royal, and instead of it being heel versus face dynamic, you didn't have to turn her heel. It could have been Natalya versus Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey talking up her dad and how much, other than Piper, her dad inspired her. She enjoyed spending time with her and her family, and it could have been a friendly battle. Just because Jimmy Anvil Neidhart passed away doesn't mean we couldn't get Natalya versus Ronda Rousey some point in time, even if you don't turn Natalya heel. It just makes absolutely no sense why they would go that route. But you want to know why Ronda Rousey versus Natalya never happened? That's your reason why. And finally, guys, news on the brand split. Is it over in 2019? According to sources, that is not the case. Regarding speculation on WWE possibly going back to one brand when SmackDown goes to Fox on Friday nights next October, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that they will likely not happen. There have been speculation on WWE needing all the top stars on Fox because of how important network primetime numbers are. And yes, network primetime numbers are huge. If WWE does not deliver network primetime numbers, Fox will cancel them like that. Fox will cancel SmackDown, and WWE will be off finding somebody or calling back to NBC Universal, taking less than what they get now for SmackDown if they do not deliver. It was noted that Fox doesn't really want to cross-promote the same superstars that are seen on NBC Universal's USA Network, which airs Raw. It's believed that the separate Raw and SmackDown rosters will remain. On a related note, it looks like they will have a separate production team for Raw and SmackDown and will start doing more live events for the WWE Network. Early word is that the Blue brand will do the live Friday night shows and whatever Saturday live events that will end up airing on the WWE Network. The Red brand team will work Sundays for pay-per-view events or Sunday live events along with Raws on Monday. It was reported recently that there are more big changes planned for when SmackDown premieres on Fox on Friday, October 4th, 2019. Fox Network's officials reportedly want SmackDown to show less comedy and take more of a sports direction. According to the Observer, Fox is including SmackDown as a part of their new sports block of programming, which will run Thursday through Sunday in 2019, and they want some changes made to the product. WWE Chairman Vince McMahon said to be more into the comedy presentation with wrestling. It was reported back when WWE signed a deal with Fox that the network wanted to do a lot of cross-promoting with other sports programming they have. Fox wants to have some of their sports stars or personalities appear on the various shows to heavily promote the block, and they want to give them something athletically oriented to promote, according to the Observer. I can already see doom and gloom for this Fox deal multiple ways. Honestly, this Fox deal is doomed to fail, plain and simple. This Fox deal is doomed to fail. The cross-promotion brawl that we saw between the SmackDown and Raw women's this year, we won't see next year. I don't know how the brand splits, how the superstar shakeup is going to be, but they're going to definitely need to do one. Even though the superstar shakeup happens in April, so this year won't, next year won't be. It'll be the 2020 superstar shakeup, how well that goes. But it will be interesting to see how Survivor Series turns out next year, even if we even get a Raw versus SmackDown feel. Yes, Vince McMahon is bullheaded. We know this. Vince McMahon wants comedy to reign supreme in the WWE, and to have Fox said we don't want that much comedy. So the shit we saw on Tuesday, where you had the New Day pouring cranberry sauce onto Cesaro, and throwing pies and everything is going to hopefully be just dead. Nick's gone out of here. They can keep the comedy on Monday Night Raw where it needs to be fucking awful as can be. Yes, I can understand the brand split. Like, that makes sense for them because NBC Universal is somewhat of a rival to Fox Sports. They do have their own sports programming, so to see Fox go up against NBC Universal, they don't want to see like a Braun Strowman on SmackDown unless he's on SmackDown. They don't want to see a Bobby Roode unless he's on SmackDown. So it's gonna be interesting what happens with this. But if all you have to know, if the numbers do not show up, Fox will cancel this. Post haste and will not be, and WWE will be out, completely out of a contract with. They will lose a lot of money because they know they have different production teams. Hopefully, Triple H will be taking over SmackDown next year and give it an NXT feel. We want an NXT feel. Fox should watch NXT and be like, we want it like that. We want SmackDown like that. We don't want that shit that you showed us last year with Turkey, with the feast fight and shit like that. Get rid of Byron Saxton. He is a joke. Put the New Day on Raw because they are comedy to a T. You don't want comedy? Send the New Day to Raw in the next Superstar Shakeup. We don't need them on Team Blue anymore. Give us the seriousness. Give us the competition. Give us everything that we need for a good SmackDown. Fox could be our savior, or they're going to cut the deal like that. And then what does SmackDown do? SmackDown gets canceled, and Raw has to WWE has to figure out a new plan of action. Because I don't think NBC Universal is going to take them back, especially not for as much as Fox is paying for them. But that is your Unscripted for your Sunday, November 25th, 2018. We are 1 month away from the most wonderful time of the year, as they call it, Christmas. But I'll be here tomorrow for your Monday Night Raw review. If not, it will be up on Tuesday. I'm having a little trouble with my TV here, so if I have to, I'll have to go to another location next day, and we will have Monday Night Raw up the next day, SmackDown Live, NXT, and I'm going to hopefully get NXT UK watched all through. We have I think 4 episodes to watch, which, yay, 2 hours of shows. But make sure to hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at TheFronts. Follow me on twitch.tv/TheFronts08. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like or dislike this video. And I will see you guys later for Monday Night Raw this coming Monday. As there is a championship match between the tag team champions of the AOP and Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. Yay. Until then, I'm getting out of here. You guys have a good one.